Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 89. Fast approaching that 100. The dreaded turn 100 for me. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and kick things off. Start of the turn, we have some interesting and potentially dire news. Ubar has claimed the throne of the First Age in the name of Jin Command HQ. So, boom, Ubar, Throne of the First Age. Very cool. Very cool and very concerning. Right? And there's a reason why. Let's go ahead and check real quick. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 thrones for Ubar now. Throne of Misfortune and Golden Throne are both in our territory. But that is 2 thrones outside, or 2 thrones that Ubar needs to win the game. And here are 2 thrones that Helheim still holds. So, Throne of the Moon and Throne of Knowledge are, I believe, this is one of them. And then I believe this is... It's one of these 2 that is the other. But I'm not sure which it is. So that is definitely concerning. So, we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Other things we have for this turn, we have some remotes. So let's go ahead and see that. Continuing to target God's Tomb, we're shooting at an augur. Let's see how we go. Body Ethereal is not going to save you, my friend. Well, 5 damage. That is a very low hit. $23. That's better. Okay. So that's a dead augur. What do we got next? We've got another augur. This one with an endless bag of wine. Another body ethereal. Like, just, 40 damage right off the bat. Okay. So that is that. We have manifestations, 2 wins, and 0 losses for this turn. Slowly plinking away at the reserves that Ermor has. 1 more location, assuming that we won here in Ermor. We have been attacked by a horror. This was one of our Neminaris casting Revive King. And they got attacked after by an actual horror. So, well, you know. Fair enough. Okay, so horror attacks, we have 1 loss, 0 wins, 1 loss for horror attacks this turn. Actually, this is very different from the way I played in Tetragrammaton. In Tetragrammaton, I played it almost as if I was like spitting in the eye of the astral corruption of just like, I don't give a shit. Come at me, bro. So I had like 5 to 10, it feels like, horror attacks per turn. And this time I'm very much like, the first 2 turns, I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then I was like, nope, it's not fine. I don't want to do this again. And so I've been very like, except for a few things, I've been very like, nah, we're not tempting fate here. I'm going to keep my mage core. I do not have... It's probably the difference is in... As I had a massive mage core because I was stupid rich the majority of the game. Yomi, I have been just so poor. So, there's that. Anyways, continuing on. We have no site searching, so our blood income is basically just a report of blood slaves. You know what? I think I might actually just rename this to blood hunting. And yeah, we'll go there. So we got plus 28 for blood hunting this turn. Easy peasy. And then we got we've got a battle. We have attacked in Ermor. What are we up against? Yeah. What are we up against? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah. I'm just gonna turn this on full. We're not even casting any of our spells for this. Any casualties we deal or take are probably gonna come from ourselves. We took no casualties. Okay. That's it. That is Ermor's capital. Ermor has one last holdout that there's a whole shit ton of Ether warriors in. At least one Ether lord. Their god, right? Because their god was not in the battle at Ermor, I believe. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. Okay, cool. So battles versus Ermor this turn: 1 win, 0 losses. Let's see what we got for events. Events! During these seasonal offerings to the spirits of the earth, one of them has indeed appeared. We got an earth gnome. Cool. Earth gnomes are fun. In Brightwoods, we got several earth elementals. We got 5 earth elementals. That's dope. You know what would be cool? I have no idea. Dominion 6, right? Dominion 6. It would be neat if there was some sort of process by which to grow or cultivate elementals. I.e., it would be really interesting if there were like super low level spells where you could like summon size 1 earth elementals, right? And then something that you could do, some sort of ritual or something like that, where you could basically feed them a gem, or feed like a couple of them a gem, or something like that. And then that will boost them up to a size 2, right? Like, and so on and so forth. It would be a very interesting little process. You know what? Actually, I think part of the reason I'm thinking of these types of things is I was playing Conquest of Elysium 5 or whatever the other day is, and there are mechanics in that game that I feel like would be very interesting transfers over to Dominions, and it's basically most of the things of like scaling up, like paying a cost to learn abilities or get stronger or level up or things like that. I think mechanics like that, sparsely used mechanics, not like everything gets all of it, right? Would be really cool being transferred over to Dominions. Like something along the lines of perhaps like, maybe your Prophet, right, for example, could take on some of the characteristics of characters in Conquest of Elysium. Like you could actually level them up or teach them new abilities or things like that. That would be kind of cool. And you know what? There are actually some things like that in some of the mods, like DE or things like that, where you can cast a ritualistic spell and it gives the individual some sort of permanent buff. I think there are a couple things in DE that do that specifically with prophets, but those types of ideas I think would be really cool as base pieces in the game, right? Like base systems in the game, having ways to upgrade your units, right? Like making resources a more interesting mechanic rather than just a limiting factor on what you can recruit, right? Actually having maybe, so for example, you come into Yomi, right? We have 132 resources we're not using at all, period, right? Resources get used as you hire individuals, and the concept is you're basically paying for their gear, right? So it would be neat if different nations had the ability to, okay, you don't want to use your resources for like hiring new things this turn, but you could use your resources towards upgrading the gear of infantry that is already here. So you basically and you have to take them at, like, they can't patrol or whatever. I don't know, like, make there be some sort of penalty, but basically say, oh, I can take all of these Bakemono Sho, and I can say, okay, go into reserve or whatever, right? Like, we're gonna work on your equipment for this turn, and it takes however much to turn this into a Yari +1, right? So, like, it's a little bit more attack, a little bit more damage, or something like that, right? Like, almost like in an RTS, right? Like, where you're teching up, that type of scenario. Anyways, random ideas. I've gone off on a tangent. Ignore me. Back to what we were talking about. There's just so many cool things in Dominions that I think could take little augmented systems like that and run with them and be really, really neat. I think that's why we see mods like DE, for example, take certain things and just expound on them really, really well. But anyways, we got more events. we did Brightholm or Brightwoods, bunch of rebirth events, rebirth, Earth gems +1 in the below. So that ravine keeps it's the magic site that isn't a magic site that keeps on giving, because we've had a handful of magic gems from the below probably 5 or 6 times throughout this game, this playthrough, right? New trade routes opened in Wase, and continuing on with thaumaturgy rituals. So events this turn, we got +1 Earth Gnome, +5 Water Elementals, and Earth +1. So pretty neat. Actually, I just really want to go play Conquest of Elysium 5 now. Alright, we've got some... We discovered false prophets and patrolled them out over in Pastena. Didn't realize there were any there. And then we discovered a unit in Pastena as well, I believe. Yeah. A scout. And what else that? Okay. What are we doing this turn? Vast majority of this movement is just moving Kooni around, except for a handful of things. One of the first things is you can see this long-ass line over here. That is, where he be? That is Manabu. Manabu is over here, and Manabu is jumping all the way over to Mysia, because Manabu is then going to jump from Mysia to Pastena in the following turn, and we're gonna fucking cap this throne. There's no reason for us not to get this throne. We're not super duper like, oh my god, absolutely need to have Adepts of the Golden Order, but actually it would be nice to get a couple of them. Those are pretty good Astral Mages, pretty good Evocation Mages. Would be pretty happy to have a couple. Probably unlikely to happen for a while, but much more interested in this just fucking base 200 gold. Please and fucking thank you. So, that is happening. We are patrolling the unrest down here. We are moving our Oni out into Golan Fens. So that whole situation is going on. All of the rest of this is moving Ko-Oni around, except for what's happening in Urmor. So, we are moving the majority of this army down into Kolar Megar. Kind of what I described last turn, right? Moving that army down into Kolar Megar. We are moving Masse down into Pannonia to pick up units, pick up all these spare units. And then the following turn, they're going to meet up in Lurborough. We have a Mound King now, Dimu, over here, who is bringing in a whole bunch of corpse constructs. He's going to hop into Barme this turn, and the next turn he'll be in Lurborough, or the turn after he'll be in Lurborough as well. Consolidating that, and then we're just going to go sit on Gonstu. Other things that we are doing, though, is you can see there are lines going out here. So we are sending our new Earth Gnome Boyo over to Jan Keep. He's going to grab some gear, and then he is going to, I think next turn, we are going to be jumping into Helheim territory. I believe the call has been made, the trigger has been pulled, and the scenario of like, yeah, you need to start heading that direction has happened. Corroborating that, right, is we have another Mound King arriving here in Mareni this next turn, who's going to pick up a bunch of corpse constructs. And the intention there is they're just going to go they're going to pick up here, move here, sit on Feral Woods, go from there, right? Probably going to send part of this force into Sanguine Swamp as well. So the idea being is that in the next 2 turns, we're probably going to be hitting all of this, laying claim to it, and hopefully by doing that, right, we are going to prevent Ubar from taking one, whichever one of these is the necessary one, and then this one. So that is the plan. I think that's it as far as like movements really go. So let's talk about what we're actually doing this turn. First thing, easy peasy. Been a while. Buildings, temple, +1. Dropping a temple down in Ermor. Try to get our Dominion going over here. Simple, easy peasy. At this point, luck is actually doing a pretty good job for us, so we want to spread that as much as we possibly can, and go from there. Rituals. We are back to 9 corpse constructions this turn, and 2 manifestations, and that's it. Actually, we are very light on rituals this turn. Again, I kind of talked a little bit about this at the beginning of this video, but I'm just playing way differently versus Astral Corruption than I did as because I have to respect it in a different way with this nation, but also because I've learned lessons from being disrespectful to it that I'm trying to not repeat. So we're taking our time. We're gonna, produce more golems and go from there, and things go. So, aside from that, we are doing some more forging this turn. You can already see we're doing an Armor of the Knights on Emug. That is primarily because we can't afford to summon another golem this turn. So, the turns in between summoning golems for Emug are going to be done as a Earth Forger, right? And typically right now that means Armor of the Knights. More Armor of the Knights is almost always useful for us. Very good item. Scutata Volturnus, which we're just kind of risking it for the biscuit on that one. Flask of Holy Water, which is continuing to be done on our Sea King. And then 4 more Endless Bags of Wine, continuing on in this kind of concept. Though we are significantly better now, it's not going to be a full fix. So we're going to use some of those bags and potentially have some of those bags left in reserve. So we'll see how that goes. And that's pretty much it as far as forging. Is there anything else to really talk about? Not really, honestly. We've got we'll have Evocation 8 next turn. We're still rushing up towards Evocation 9. We're not gonna hit the everything done by 100 mark, but we have most of what I care about done. So there's that. Nothing has been solidified in conversations with Ubar or Lanka. Granted, the conversations have not been extensive, basically. So I do not know what is going to happen in the next few turns. Helheim is trying to put up some last couple defenses to like make things painful, but they are going down quickly, which is why they've basically called me in to start grabbing this stuff now. And I don't know. Like, I do not have a clear concept of whether or not I'm moving against Lanka or whether or not I'm moving against Ubar, which I don't think is a good thing, right? Like, if you cannot clearly say, when you're coming up to one of these moments in a Dominions game, if you cannot clearly say, I am allied with this person and our plan is this, then that tends to mean that you are the person who is allied against. And that is unfortunate. But it is kind of like, it's kind of the way that I handled diplomacy in this particular game. Earlier on, I did kind of throw my lot in with Helheim in the concept of how diplomatic I am being, etc., etc. So I would not be surprised if Ubar and Lanka are like, okay, well, time to butcher Yomi. Let's get it done. And then we'll just see how that goes. If that is the case, I have no doubt that they will be able to succeed, but we'll try to do what we can. And see how it goes. That's going to be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.